Eastern Conference Finals, number 2 seed Boston Celtics, number 1 seed Miami Heat. Final score ended up being 107-118. Miami Heat. Uh, a very much anticipated game defensively, especially two defensive juggernauts in the NBA. At the beginning, it seemed like they were neck and neck. Jason Tatum started the game off with 20 points in the first half, and the Miami Heat got a key contribution off the bench, which really got the ball rolling through Tyler Hero in the first half. And then I think what really what really changed the game was when we got to the second half. Uh, Obviously, with the transition buckets and the takeaways at the Miami Heat, they were just relentless, especially Jimmy Butler. And I have this argument back and forth about where I would put Jimmy Butler because I've always had him like borderline superstar. He's just had a star, but he's like his head is like touching the ceiling at superstar. But Jimmy Butler was amazing tonight, had 41 points, had 9 rebounds, 5 assists. But most key notable stat is the steals. He had 4 steals in this game, and they were key to the Miami Heat get taking off with a lead or taking the lead and never looking back after that in the third quarter. Like they outscored the Boston Celtics by 20 points, if I'm not mistaken, in the second half. But with the Boston Celtics, considering how they was out without Marcus Smart and without Al Horford in this game, at the beginning of the game, I was like, the Miami Heat, they gotta get this first win versus the Boston Celtics in game one in Miami. If they don't get it, then they're gonna have some serious issues with the Boston Celtics, which I still believe the Miami Heat will have some serious issues with the Boston Celtics because it's going to be tough to put a body on Jason Tatum. Now, just going off of the first half of this game, like the Boston Celtics, they were actually moving the basketball, playing team ball, and it's basketball that like it's a totally different team that I saw versus the Milwaukee Bucks in the semi-conference finals. Like they were getting other guys involved. Grant Williams, even though he shot 2 for 5, he's actually making more attempts with confidence. Robert Williams, he had his first game back for the Boston Celtics. He got you some nice energy baskets with some alley oop dunks, getting the boys settled in. And Pritchard had a nice contribution coming off the bench with 18 points. But I'm expecting Al Horford to return and Marcus Smart to return to add even more contribution to the Boston Celtics when they go into game two. Now, I felt Bam Adebayo was a little bit underwhelming during the course of this game. Uh, it only ended with 10 points. And I'm expecting him to be a little bit more aggressive in game two for the Miami Heat. And a great story. Vincent comes off the bench with 17 points and is getting the job done for the Miami Heat, filling in for Kyle Lowry right now, which there's really no timetable of his return right now. But it was a good contribution. But I want to go ahead and put this back on Jimmy Butler because of the fact that he was his ability for him to be able to get to the free throw line and shoot efficiently from the free throw line. He was 17 for 18, and everybody knows about Jimmy Butler's lockdown defense with the three blocks and the 4 steals. I felt like that was like the pivot. That was the key moment in the game in the second half where they had that series of like I want to say 3 or 4 steals back to back to back, where they had momentum versus the Boston Celtics, and they just didn't look back. They just took the game. They just took the game over, and the Boston Celtics couldn't do anything about it. They did a wonderful job. The Miami Heat did a wonderful job in the second half being able to contain Jason Tatum because in the first half he was on pace to score 40. He was on pace to score 40, and in previous videos when we talked about Jason Tatum, like he's there now, like he's on that superstar level. You're going to have to be able to neutralize Jason Tatum throughout this series. Now, Jalen Brown, he's a little off and off. He's a little concerning for me. This game, he had 24 points this game. but they're going to need a little bit more for him if they believe they're going to win this series. The same thing with Grant Williams a couple nights ago versus the Bucks. He scored over 20 points. If he can continue on, because I said earlier, he's getting some confidence. I feel like he can get the job done too as well. But it was a very, very interesting rotation going on with the Boston Celtics. And I feel, again, my prediction is the Boston Celtics are going to win this in 6 games. Obviously they lost this game, but they're going to come out in game 2. And I feel like they're going to have Al Horford back. They're going to have Marcus Smart back. They're going to have that depth where Miami's going to have some serious issues moving forward.
Nah for the Bay. Nah for the Bay. We don't care what you said. Nah for the Bay. Nah for the Bay. Nah for the Bay. We ain't hearing what you said. Nah for the Bay. Fire!